everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to be reviewing the iconic Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Foundation and the brand new Double Wear Stay in Place Concealer. Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation launched in 1997. And ever since 1997, not a year has gone by that I did not own a bottle of Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 bottles. And when I was a freelance makeup artist, I always had at least a few shades in my kit. What people have always loved about this foundation and why it has won so many awards is because it covers all of your imperfections. It offers medium, buildable to full coverage, and most people who use it and love it would agree that it does feel comfortable on the skin, especially for a long wear formula. Now, I have been in the beauty industry since 1996, so 1 year before this foundation was launched. And I can tell you, I have gotten feedback from so many people on this foundation. And the consensus is that if you have normal to oily to very oily skin, you're more likely to really love it. If you have dry to very dry skin, you're probably not going to be the biggest fan. You're probably going to reach for something that has more of a dewy or luminous finish. And one of the negatives I have heard over the years about the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation is that some people feel that it looks cakey. It looks like foundation sitting on the skin. And I'm not the only one who has gotten that feedback. My good friend and fellow content creator, Stephanie Marie, has a couple of videos on how to apply Estee Lauder Double Wear without looking cakey. And it has gotten thousands upon thousands of views because apparently people aren't sure how to properly apply this foundation. So in this video, I'm going to show you my take on the proper application. Even though I have oily skin, I am going to be recommending products for all skin types when it comes to prep and powder. And then I'm also going to give you my thoughts on the newly released Double Wear Concealer. I believe this might be the third reformulation of the Double Wear Concealer. I didn't even realize they came out with a new formula until one of my viewers mentioned it to me in the comment section of another video. So I immediately went to Ulta. I ended up purchasing the shade 2.5C. So I'm going to prep my skin, apply the foundation, apply the concealer, show you what it looks like in natural light right after application, and then every couple of hours after that. The shade you'll be seeing me demo in this video is 2W0, Warm Vanilla. I mentioned already the concealer is 2.5C. So let's talk about prep. Regardless of your skin type, you're going to want to make sure that your skin has been sufficiently exfoliated before applying this product. I like to exfoliate my oily skin at least twice per week, and my current favorite product to use for that is from Medicube. It is their Zero Pore Pad. These are dermatologist recommended, they're budget friendly and highly effective. The last thing you want to do is put this product on a face of unexfoliated skin. It is going to cling to everything. And that is one of the reasons why it's going to look cakey. No foundation looks good on dry, rough skin that desperately needs exfoliation. Something I have found to be true after using this foundation off and on for so long is that you don't want to put a lot of products underneath it. So you really want to do the bare minimum. Personally, I like to start off with a moisturizer. This is the one I've been using. This is one I would recommend for combination to oily skin. If you have dry skin and you still want to use this foundation, I would recommend a heavier moisturizer, something that also acts as a primer, like this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Then if you're wearing this foundation during the day, you obviously want to have on your SPF. So because I want to minimize the amount of product I'm putting on underneath this foundation, I do recommend using something that is a primer and a sunscreen. Two of my favorites are this one from Charlotte Tilbury and this one from Milani. After you've prepped your face, you also want to prep your under eyes. What I have found after testing this concealer for about a week now is that under eye prep is extremely important with this one. If your under eyes are very, very dry, you do not want to apply this concealer without some serious hydration under the eyes. One of my favorite and very, very affordable products to use for this step is the Wet n Wild Primer Serum, the hydrating formula. It contains rose water, watermelon, and peony. If your under eyes are very dry though, I would recommend placing a thicker eye cream on top. Today I use the Clinique All About Eyes. Now that our skin is prepped, it's time to apply the foundation. I like to place one pump either on the back of my hand or on a mixing tray. And then I take my finger and I place little dots all over my face. Then you want to take your favorite foundation brush. This one is from Makeup by Mario. It is the F4. I really like this particular foundation brush because of the size of the brush head, the density of the bristles, and also the softness of the bristles. So once you've applied your dots, you want to begin patting or stippling in the product, working from the inner part of your face by the nose, working outwards, and you just want to keep stippling and stippling some more. I honestly don't recommend just dipping your brush into the foundation and then applying it directly to your face, because you're going to end up with too much foundation in one area and you're going to have to work harder to get it blended out. I find just applying the little dots to be so much easier. You use a lot less product. You can always go back in and add more if you want to build it up. Next, you want to take a damp Beauty Blender sponge, and you want to make sure it's damp, not saturated with water. You want to make sure that you've really squeezed out any excess water. And then you're going to take the sponge and stipple the foundation again. The more you stipple, the more natural the foundation is going to look. So don't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and think you're done. You want to keep going for about 30 seconds on each side. And once again, for my dry skin people, if you are wanting to use this foundation, I would recommend taking a hydrating setting spray like this one from Dalba. It is the First Spray Serum. Saturating your sponge with this product, and then do your stippling motion. The more spray you use, the more glowy you're going to get. Another very hydrating spray a lot of my dry-skinned subscribers rave about, it's Tatcha's the Satin Skin Mist. With the concealer, we're applying it the same way we did the foundation. We're placing little dots, the first dot by the inner corner next to the nose, where most of us have the darkest shadow. And then we're following along in little dots wherever you have darkness. And then you also want to place a dot just outside the corner of your eye. Then I want you to reach for your favorite concealer brush. This one is from Beauty Pie. Once again, we're doing a stippling motion. We're not pulling, we're not tugging, we're just stippling until everything is nicely blended in. And this concealer texture is just so beautiful. It is so silky. The coverage is amazing. And yes, it's going to last you all day long. As I mentioned a few moments ago, I do not recommend going right in with this concealer on unprepped, unhydrated skin. For me, the day I did that, I tested it several different ways. The day I did it without any prep, I do feel like my under eyes looked pretty dry. This concealer also does not pair well with every powder. If you want to set this concealer, you want to use a very light, finely milled setting powder. My personal preference is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Powder. You're going to want to lightly dust your under eyes with this powder. I made the mistake of applying too much powder to my under eyes, which honestly I can do successfully with other concealers, but not this one. If I want it to look very flawless yet natural and not cakey and dry, I have to use a lightweight pressed powder. Now, for my fellow oily to very oily skinned friends, you can go in with a loose powder and a puff and really bake that face down. I know those of you with dry skin and some of you with oily skin may be horrified by the amount of powder I am putting on my face right now. But I promise you, this is the best way to keep your foundation looking so flawless. By the way, the powder I used for this demo is from Fenty. So now you can see with my makeup on, natural light, everything looks so good. When I look up close into the mirror, my pores are minimized, my skin obviously looks even, but I don't feel tight and dry. Yes, even with that amount of powder, I do not feel tight and dry. That is something that if you don't have oily skin, you probably can't relate to or really understand. But those of you who are in the same boat as me, where you get shiny within a half an hour, I think you're going to thank me for telling you to use that much powder. But not just any powder. It does have to be a really nice, finely milled, loose powder. And most of them, honestly, are today. I use the Fenty, I use the Huda Beauty. You can use the One Size Loose powder, you can use the Jason Wu loose powder. I will list several options for you in the description box. I've also found that with this duo, setting spray matters as well. If you're going to use a setting spray, you honestly don't want to use one that is really hardcore, like the Urban Decay mattifying setting spray, or something like this, the Revlon Infallible 3-Second Setting Mist. Those are going to suck the moisture out of your skin. And you've already applied a matte foundation, you've applied powder, and you just want a light setting spray. It's honestly not even that necessary. This makeup is pretty locked down, but if you use the right setting spray, your makeup is going to look even better. I personally love the Makeup by Mario setting spray. It is an ultra fine mist that evenly coats your face, and it offers clinically proven all-day hydration, but it's not going to make you shiny, so don't worry if you're oily. All right, so we have primed, we have done our application, we have set with setting spray and powder, or should I say powder then setting spray. So now it's time for those check-ins. This footage was taken about 4 hours after application. As you can see, I have a little bit of shine coming through, but it's not too bad. The coverage is still perfect, and in my opinion, nothing looks super heavy or mask-like. Now, this footage was taken after approximately 12 hours. The sun had obviously gone down, so I took this video in front of my vanity mirror. And even with all of that powder, you can see that I still have a lot of natural oil coming through. But the foundation itself, as well as the concealer, held up extremely well. I do believe that Estée Lauder now has the top contenders for the most long-wearing yet comfortable base duo on the market. Is this duo going to be for everybody? Absolutely not. If you're someone who just likes a tinted moisturizer, you just want to do a 5-minute full face out the door, then this probably is not going to be your daily combo. But you can most definitely use the concealer with any type of BB cream or tinted moisturizer, CC cream. It's the foundation that I don't think really dry, mature skin that likes sheer coverage would decide to go and purchase. As a makeup artist, it's not something I would put on, say, a mother of the bride or a grandmother of the bride if they had really dry skin and or didn't want a lot of coverage. So the Estée Lauder Double Wear now comes in 57 shades. So if you haven't been color matched recently, I do recommend that you do so, because you may be like me and not realize that some in-between shades do now exist. And I'm just going to reiterate one more time that I do really, really like this concealer a lot. Great coverage, long wear, feels beautiful going on. You just want to make sure that you've got that hydration underneath the eyes first. All right, I do hope you all enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider doing so. I do upload new videos at least twice per week. You can also find more content from me over on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. My username is the same on every platform. It's Risa Does Makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.